We are back in Scottsdale at our Weathersfield project. So the customer loved us so much, they said, let's do a phase 2. Technically it's phase 3 because you didn't see phase 2. But anyways, let's get into it. We have a bathroom that's gonna be remodeled, and then we're putting in a window for the living room. So let's start with the window. Now, we kind of skipped ahead for you guys and got all the prep done. So we've got our floor protection down, plastic walls are up. We've got the TV in here all plasticed off. If you guys have been following along with the channel, this is what you'll remember. I might have a cut scene in here if I can find the footage from this originally. But now what we're looking at is doing a window on this wall. The homeowner was mentioning to us, this is a great entertainment area, great sitting area, but there's a beautiful view of the mountain that is obstructed by that wall. So we need to get a big window in there. So right now, obviously site prep's done. We're gonna be moving into demo and framing of that in a little bit. The other thing that we're doing while we're here is gonna be this bathroom. So we've got our floor protection. We've got a new countertop that's gonna be going on here. We've got the faucet left on there so that we can replace those angle stops because obviously those bad boys are corroded. Anyways, shower is torn out. It was one of our, it was a tub shower before, the old just pre-cultured marble surround that was in there. So what we're gonna do on this one, and I'm really excited about, is we're gonna be doing these like porcelain slab walls. So they're gonna be about 90 inches tall, 30 inches wide. And what that means is that the only grout joints we're really gonna have are gonna be on the corners and then in the center right there. We are gonna have a shower pan in here. They didn't wanna do a curbless shower, so we're gonna have a shower pan. We'll build up the curb with a matching tile. And we've got a really cool pan tile that's gonna match everything in here. So looking forward to that. But first we've gotta get the plumber in here. They've gotta move our drain, get the valve where it needs to be, all that good stuff. The other thing that I'm gonna go show you an empty space, and you guys will use your imagination, and you've been following along. If you've been following along with the channel, you know that's kind of what we do sometimes. We get a little ahead of our skis with getting to work and then being like, oh, we need to turn on the video. So right here used to be a barbecue area, and now it's gone. You can see where it was on the stucco right there, kind of made an L shape. But like we talked about, we have beautiful backyard, mountains back there. So we want our homeowners to be able to sit in their living room and be able to look out and enjoy that view, feel like it's a larger space, all that good stuff. So that is what we've got going on right now. Like I said, plumbing's next. We've got some additional demo and framing that we're gonna roll into, and we will keep you updated from there with all the stuff. So hang on for a second and we'll be back with something fun, exciting. I don't know. Enjoy. Quick update for you guys. So no microphone right now, so sorry for the audio, but we've got our plumbing in for the shower. So the drain's been moved to the center, and then we have our valve in the new location, and then obviously it's centered in the stud. So it's been channeled out, non-load bearing wall, totally fine. And then they ran this up so that the shower head is centered with this as well. So we've got some blocking to get taken care of because we've got some accessibility stuff we're trying to consider for the shower. So we've got grab bars that will go in at the end of the project. So we've got a couple ways that we're gonna do that. I think we've talked about it before, but our standard for most projects is to do blocking at 36 inches all the way around. The way that we like to think about blocking is that it's if you have a 2-foot bar here, 3-foot bar here, and maybe one in the back. The other way that we do it is having the 2-foot bar more vertical, so that if I'm stepping into the shower, I can hold on to this right here, get myself into the shower, and then I've got 2 support spots right here, and I can be directly under the water like that. So tile guys are coming in a second. That's why we wanted to do a quick video on this. We're getting ready to do the framing over there for the next one. So not too much has happened, I think, since the last update, but there we go. We will see you guys in a second. All right, guys, we have our wall demoed out. Insulation's been pulled out. We already got the electrical rerouted, so we'll go through it in just a second. But our big issue, 3/4 inch water line running all the way through our wall at the height that we need it. So let's go over it. Right now, what we did is we found the center of our wall, marked it right here, and then figured out that our window essentially is gonna go from here all the way to over here. Now we needed jack studs, king studs, and we're gonna be right up against this electrical with our king studs. So the height though, our beam is a 14-inch beam to carry all the load, but it's gonna sit directly under this guy right here. And then 14 inches down from that, that'll be the bottom of the beam. Our opening needs to be 72 inches. We need to have a sill block for the window, which makes it where essentially where these X's are, that's where our sill block is gonna sit. So all of that needs to go out. The original electrical wires were running through these holes in the studs right here. So we had our guys come in and move everything up and above and then down low, and it's in the front of the studs. The reason why we had them put it in the front of the studs, because we knew that we were gonna have to be putting our jack studs, king studs, and we could just notch that little face and twist them in, and everything should go well. And if not, you'll find out here in a little bit. So that's the plan. What we're gonna do, I didn't wanna just start chopping out electrical until the electrician figured out later, try and mark it. So that's why we're doing it in this order. Usually you wanna do all your framing and then do electrical, plumbing, all that stuff. Anyways, what we're gonna do now is we're going to cut our 3/4 pipe right here, cap it off, and then we're gonna run that below once all our framing's done. Right now it's Saturday, we'll have that done on Monday, and then reattached over here because this is for the hose bib and the landscape line outside. So we've got we're gonna cut it on Monday, have it back reattached, cut it on Saturday, have it reattached on Monday to keep as short of a time as possible from the landscape not getting any water, because it's Arizona, it's dry, and it's all that fun stuff. So we are gonna be using these two guys as our king studs. They landed essentially perfectly for what we need. We're gonna do a triple jack stud here. We'll have triple jack stud. We're probably gonna have a single king stud and then some different type of reinforcement that we'll show you guys after we get it done. Homeowners asked that we essentially do all our framing from the inside, and then when the window comes that we'll cut the stucco, set the window same day. So that's why we're doing this right now. We'll probably take some more breaks in this. We're not gonna really do a time lapse today on this video, but we'll show you, we're gonna try and remember to show you after the temporary wall and the different steps so that we can show you, hey, here's what we're thinking through, here's how we're approaching it, all that stuff right now. So the other day we went through and marked out all our studs where it needs to be cut. So we also have X's up top, so we know that's where it'll get cut. We also pre-cut our lumber. So our beam size is already set. We've got our jack studs cut, king studs are ready to go. So essentially we just gotta get our temporary wall cut and then we'll go from there. So Ethan and I are gonna start rocking and rolling on this, and then we'll take a break after we get the temporary wall up to explain what we're doing and then go from there. All right guys, we have the copper line cut out of the wall. We've got our shark bite over there so that it's not just gonna be spewing water. We can get the water on to the rest of the house. And then we have our temporary wall up. So a lot of times we like to do temporary walls that are gonna be more similar to this one, where we've got one stud that's carrying essentially the load of one truss. And we try and line them up directly with the truss where it's gonna be. So we've got the best support right there. In this case, what we did is we took two of them and took 4 screws, sandwiched it to the side up there. So we've got 2 supporting, and then we've got it screwed down at the bottom over here. Same thing right here. Now you might be wondering, why did you do that? Well, we have one truss that is running right here, and there's no stud here. So this is acting essentially as our header for that bay. So there's only one that's not being supported, and it's gonna be carried by essentially that header right there. That's gonna allow us so that when we have our 105-inch beam, 105 inches, that we can slip this in here, walk it back, go up and up. If that stud was here, then we couldn't do it. And going back to, we aren't tearing out the exterior due to the customer's request, so that's why we're going through it like this. So whenever we put our temporary wall up, we're putting screws through the 2x top and bottom. We're not having to fasten it like we're really building a wall, but the nice part is when you do screws, not nails, you can pull it apart really easily. And then also it makes it where these guys aren't gonna walk away from you even if you kick it, bump it. They're supposed to be really tight, but it's that extra precaution that we don't want anything to go bad. So now we're gonna go through, essentially cut all the blocks across the top, all the blocks across the bottom, and then start working these guys out of the plywood. So essentially once we get these cut, we're gonna wanna get a pry bar behind there. So we'd probably start down low, and then we start using that leverage to get it out all the way up. We'll do that with all of these, and then we'll go from there. The one thing that we have to do on the exterior is put a post on the underside for that guy, but we'll get that done. You'll believe us, we're doing it. And then we'll move on, and then we'll show you what we've got king studs, jack studs going on for this one in just a second. Well, we forgot to stop and record because we were in just such a go mode. So anyway, here's our beam. We've got 3 jack studs per side. We've got it strapped in, and then we added additional kickers in there because what we like to do is cut these guys 1.5 inches higher. So we're able to sneak that in there. Added this just because this one was cut a little extra high. So whatever. We might stop doing that and start doing more of this in the future where we create that additional blocking because we're going directly underneath the trusses. So best weight transfer that way. We got our sill in place. It's a little dirty because we're waiting to sweep up till after the video. That way we can kind of keep all the dust in the area and we don't have to be choking on it while we're recording. All right, so on this side, we had 2 king studs, which is perfect. We've got 2 king studs, 3 jack studs, fantastic. On this side, like we talked about, we were so close to where that hole was coming down, we barely snuck that one in there. But we wanna make sure that we have the additional support laterally. So we carved this one in. This one got a little big, but that one was nice and tight. So very proud of that one. This one, don't look at it. But screw it in. That way we've got the additional bracing side to side. So as we were looking at it, we're thinking that we'll probably take our water line and go up and over the beam rather than trying to route it under like the electrical. So we'll talk to the plumber about that on Monday so that we can get all that back on. But we're gonna get swept up, cleaned up, and out of here. So we're excited for this big window that will be on the wall for our customer that they'll be able to enjoy their view going forward. So shower is just about done, but I'm not gonna show you it yet because I'm selfish. You'll see it here in like a minute. Tile guys knocked out the shower. Plumbing is gonna trim it out on Monday, so we'll probably have an update for you guys when that gets all done and go from there. So hang around to see the finish. All right, guys, we are back. We're getting ready to cut this section out of the wall so we can get our window installed. So what we're gonna do is drill 4 holes in each of our corners. Bam, bam. We'll get our Sawzall in there, cut that out, get this section of wall taken out. We'll break out some additional stucco on the outside, and then we're gonna get the window set in there. So we're gonna get to work on that here shortly, and then we'll show you our progress as we go along. But in the meantime, Ethan and I are gonna crank up the tunes, get to work, and then we'll pause whenever we remember and show you what's going on. All right, see you in a second. We did what we always do. Start working, don't stop until we get done, and then we're like, oh, we forgot the video. So, windows in. What we ended up doing, we drilled our 4 holes in the corner. We were trying to cut it with the Sawzall, and the stucco said no, and blunted that blade really quickly. So what did we do? We switched to the grinder. We went like 2 inches larger than what we needed to, and actually worked out perfect. So we'll go show you the outside in just a second. Cut that, and then we took multi-tools, cut the plywood on the inside, just shoved that bad boy out. Wrapped our window, put test fit it, then we put our silicone on, and then stuck that window in there, screwed it in there, and then there we go. So now I'm gonna see if we can get a good view out the window right there. You've got just the yard, the mountains, all that good stuff. So looks great. And then we'll go to the outside and show you what it looks like outside. I'm still not showing you the bathroom because we're gonna do final reveal, all that stuff. So look forward to something else in the video, all that stuff. So anyways, we've got our stucco cut back the couple inches. We've got everything, our silicone splooging out of there. And then we've got our stucco guys who are gonna come behind us. They'll probably break it out further so they can tie in their mesh better with all of that. But how we cut it allowed us to have it just clean, slip that window in, and then we went from there. The other thing that we did, this is, I'm not sure if we showed you this earlier in the video, there were 2 doors that were right here. Now this is the area that goes through to that same room that that window is in. Now you might be thinking, why were there two doors there? This goes back to these houses were built in the 90s, and it was the kind of really convenient way to put all of your media stuff on this wall. You got to remember, everything's 30 inches deep because you've got your audio stereo system that's getting plugged into your DVD system that's getting plugged into God knows what all around here. But now if you needed to mess with all those wires, are you having to pull all those huge things off the shelf to try and do that? Or do you put in two doors on the back of it where you can have an AV guy come open the two doors up, he can make all the connections and all that? We're in the 2020s. We ain't got time for that. We've got like an 85-inch TV that's on that wall. We've got all the smart systems in it. So we've got like one cable. It's time for this to go away. So stucco guys are gonna make that go away for us. Anyways, this will probably be our last video before we do the final reveal. So in a second, you get to go, wow. All right, see you in a bit. All right, guys, we're at the end of our project out here in Scottsdale. So let's take a look at the shower first. So I think we've hid this one from you guys for a bit. We're waiting on our plumber to connect our faucet. So faucet right there, new quartz countertop, yay. Anyways, we've got black fixtures that go along with what we've got going on in the shower. So I'm gonna switch spots with Ethan, and then if you wanna kind of pan around on the shower. So we've got the grab bars that are in here because we wanna make sure that it's gonna be accessible for the people that are gonna be living here. We talked about that with how we're putting in the blocking. We've got our new shower door that's in here, and then Ethan will have you kind of step over this way. We did a shelf right here because these are panels. Essentially, we have a grout joint in the corner. We have a grout joint in the center, grout joint in the corner. That's all we have for the walls. We're getting more and more requests for showers that have less grout joints because it's easier to clean, things like that. We're still gonna have more of those grout joints on the floor because that helps give us the grip in our feet so that you're not gonna be slipping in the shower. It's also easier to get those cuts, to get the drainage correct, all that stuff. Now, one of the things that we didn't plan on, and I think we talked about already in the video, but this is the corner bench where that exhaust or air pipe, whatever it was, is in the wall over there, that we were able to build that out around it, keep our liner in there, and then it's also a nice kind of feature for anyone who might be purchasing the house in the future, or if the homeowner's gonna use it, any of that stuff. So this turned out really well. We found a tile that matches really well to the shower walls that we're using for the curb in here. So that actually is different than these shower walls. These get sold as a 4-piece kit, essentially, for the shower walls, and they're a true tile. So it's not like it's some surround that you may have seen in like new builds from, I wanna say like 80s, 90s, all that good stuff. But so it looks super cool. We've got our door and roller track on the top, black fixtures, and then I'm gonna step out and I'll have Ethan take a look at that light fixture, and it's probably gonna create a lot of glare, but just trying to get more of a modern light fixture in there, especially since we're doing a lot more of kind of the modern finishes in that bathroom. Now, for our window, I know that we've showed you guys this a bit, but here it is, drywall's done, we've got stucco done on the outside, so they're getting great views of the mountain out there. Everything looks finished like it's been here the entire time. We've got cleaners coming in tomorrow. That's why we don't have all the furniture back in here yet, but excuse me. So super excited about this. It lets in so much more light. This used to be such a dark room in here, but it just brings almost the exterior to the interior right here. So we're gonna be wrapping up the project. We've got cleaners coming in behind us. We've got the plumber that is scheduled for early next week to get the faucet in, and one other thing for the homeowner on his request. But other than that, we're gonna be wrapping up and hitting the road here shortly.